Fear. It's a natural, hardwired response deep within the nervous systems of humans and animals.
It is in terrible danger. Everyone's in terrible danger.
Something triggers it when you're in danger. That's your sympathetic nervous system kicking in. You can either shut it down and become John Wick, or bravely admit you're a Nickelback fan in public.
Who's the big Nickelback fan?
Guilty!
Fear is an essential mechanism in evolution. And of course, to catch up with the excessive crisis trend, humanity now has 999 different phobias. Today, we're going to talk about some of these fears. Usually, these are just exaggerated anxiety disorders blowing up on TikTok. My sources are all from the internet, so if anything's wrong, feel free to drop a comment below. Thanatophobia, the fear of death. About 3% to 10% of the world's population suffers from this. Including me. Wow, so humanity is pretty tough after all? People with this phobia are always obsessed and fearful of dying, timidly afraid of anything they think might endanger their lives. They're afraid to eat lest they choke and die. Afraid to bathe lest they have a stroke and die. Afraid to sleep lest they oversleep and well, you get the picture. Oh wait, then maybe that's not me after all. From what I've seen, women suffer from this more, because men are too busy doing stupid stuff. Necrophobia. It's like a branch of the fear of death. It's the fear of dead things or things related to death, like zombies, corpses, coffins, cemeteries, and all that. Well, who isn't scared of that? Unless you're in certain specialized professions. Who sees a dead body and isn't scared? But overcoming this fear is quite simple. You just need to know how to garden. And of course, speaking of necrophobia, we have to immediately jump to megalophobia. Megalophobia. Approximately 7% of the world's population has this. It's the fear of extremely large objects. People with this phobia are afraid of big things like airplanes, skyscrapers, large ships, giant animals like whales or dinosaurs, or even the Statue of Liberty or the Eiffel Tower. Good thing I don't have it. If I did, every time I looked down between my legs, I'd be scared to death. Thalassophobia, the fear of the deep sea. These people tend to imagine terrifying things lurking beneath the surface, like being swallowed by a shark or sinking deep to the ocean floor. It's understandable, because the ocean looks terrifying as hell. There's no air, you could get bitten by a fish. And then there's the fear of the gigantic and bizarre shapes of sea creatures, especially in deep water, or being haunted by tsunamis and floods. Coupled with human imagination, this is probably like watching a movie and then thinking, damn, that's scary, from now on I'm afraid of it. Trypophobia, the fear of holes. Seems like a lot of people have this one. I read online that it's about 15% of the world's population. People experience discomfort or disgust when looking at images or objects with many holes, like a shower head, or those tiny dots on your hands and face. I even found an article saying the triple camera on iPhones made some people with trypophobia condemn it. Anyone with this phobia must be terrified of girls. Automatonophobia, the fear of human-like things, like mannequins, dolls, human figures. It's like you know it's not human, but it looks so similar, and it's easy to get obsessed or haunted by it. This phobia is similar to the psychological effect of the uncanny valley, where humans feel uncomfortable or have an indescribable creepy feeling when exposed for too long to robots or animated characters created to look human. Claustrophobia, the fear of confined spaces, fear of elevators, fear of under the bed, fear of being locked in dark, stuffy places. Honestly, who isn't scared of being locked in small, dark, stuffy places? The most haunting thing for people with this phobia is being locked in a coffin. The internet says this fear mainly forms due to childhood traumas, like being locked in the house by parents for being naughty and not allowed to play. Contrary to this is agoraphobia, the fear of open spaces. People with this will feel anxious when in a wide, empty place or lacking presence, like shopping malls, hospitals, or wild forests. These people would be horrified looking at my wallet. Acrophobia, the fear of heights. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson doesn't fear this, because he's in a position no one else can reach. Most people have a natural fear when exposed to heights to some degree, called the fear of falling.
Scared of heights, don't fall.
However, people with acrophobia will panic, scream, have their hearts pound and legs shake when they have to climb high, even fearing climbing stairs. About 2% to 5% of the population fears heights, but women fear heights less, because they usually sit on men's heads. Coulrophobia, the fear of clowns. Makes sense. Notably, adults fear clowns more than children, okay? Out of 100 kids, maybe one is scared, but for adults, it's like 1 in 10. There are films that exploit this fear, like It, Joker, Terrifier. This phobia seems to stem from the case of the clown John Wayne Gacy in the US. Because of his monstrosity, people started fearing clowns. Zoophobia, the fear of animals. Animals commonly feared are snakes. centipedes, sharks, tigers, spiders, cockroaches, worms, crickets, reptiles. Among these, we have the fear of snakes, ophidiophobia, and the fear of spiders, arachnophobia. These are two innate, instinctive human fears that developed during evolution. Like, back in the day, if you got bitten by these, you were dead, there was no antidote, and gradually, these two fears became ingrained in our blood, passed down through generations to know how to avoid them. But our ancestors didn't foresee that future generations would bring them home to make snake wine or feed spiders their flip-flops. Phasmophobia, the fear of ghosts. This is super common, like you clearly don't know what a ghost is. Never met one, but you're still scared. Actually, I think it's because you don't know what they are that you're scared. Because you just imagine them. There's a paradox. The more someone fears ghosts, the more they like to learn about them and watch horror movies. Back in the day, everyone would talk about turning off the lights and running to bed really fast, or ghosts would catch you, and also pulling the blanket over your whole body when sleeping, so ghosts wouldn't touch your feet. Anoclophobia, the fear of crowds. Because crowds aren't really clean. I really admire those guys who in summer still brave the walking street in 40 degrees Celsius heat. With cursing and touting and a sea of people, yet still eat ice cream and hang out around a small lake. Social phobia, or social anxiety disorder, don't like talking to anyone. Just want to hide at home. So, these people are unemployed, not in school, and not learning a trade, so their parents give them money? From a psychological perspective, social phobia also manifests as constantly feeling pressured by societal expectations and prejudices. Meaning, you must be this way. You must be that way. Fear of making a fool of oneself for others. Being the main course for Wolf's meal. The way to overcome it is to just not care. Don't pay too much attention to societal demands. Actually, for those who suffer from this, it's probably not that easy. Because if it were easy, they probably wouldn't have it. I guess so. I get this phobia when I run out of money. Hypochondria, the fear of being sick. Always in a state of anxiety about their health. Paying attention to minor symptoms. Self-diagnosing with diseases, even after seeing a doctor and being told they're healthy. Then they go on Google, search symptoms, and boom, it's always late-stage cancer. What else could it be? No wonder they're worried. The cause might be watching too many Korean dramas, where suddenly someone always has leukemia or cancer. Isoptrophobia, the fear of mirrors. Fear of looking in a mirror. Fear of one's own reflection in a mirror. On average, women without makeup and vampires. This can stem from body image issues or a belief in a parallel world beyond the mirror. Ghosts and stuff, like the legend of summoning Bloody Mary through a mirror. For me, it's just that I think I'm ugly. Decidophobia, the fear of making decisions. Every person ever fear that their decisions will make things worse. Honestly, dealing with someone like this is pretty annoying, because they just keep circling around and can't make up their mind about anything. Monophobia, the fear of being abandoned. That person will feel scared and anxious when they have to be alone, without anyone else by their side. Fear of being isolated, kind of similar to agoraphobia, right? If this happens continuously, it can lead to depression and autism, due to a lack of a sense of security. This often appears in children from unhappy families, whose parents divorced when they were young or who didn't have parental care. Chromophobia, the fear of colors. Feeling scared or intensely uncomfortable when exposed to colors. Often a specific color, or sometimes all colors, can experience shortness of breath, excessive sweating, or even panic attacks, avoiding objects, places, or situations related to that color. Like if you were in an accident, you'd fear red, or if you were caught stealing, you'd fear blue. Above were some common phobias many people suffer from. Now, I'll list a few really weird and bizarre ones. Nomophobia, the fear of not having a mobile phone. Can go crazy without a phone. The fear of anyone who owns a smartphone from now on. Hippopotamonstrosusquiptaliophobia, the fear of long words. I'll leave its name here, because the name itself is already scary. Ablutophobia, the fear of bathing. A rationalization for being dirty. Agyrophobia, the fear of crossing streets. On average, every tourist who comes to New York City. Arithmophobia, the fear of numbers. Me when I'm studying math. Philophobia, the fear of falling in love. The catchphrase of guys or girls who just got heartbroken. Halitophobia, the fear of bad breath. On average, everyone. Pogonophobia, the fear of beards. I mean, beards on the chin. I don't get it. Haphophobia, the fear of being touched. This one I can understand. Genophobia, the fear of sex. This one I also understand. Forms after you have to perform duties constantly for a week. Megarychophobia, the fear of cooking. A rationalization for those who love to eat but are lazy to work. Phobophobia, the fear of phobias. I don't get it. Androphobia, the fear of men. This reminds me of the case of choosing to live alone in the forest. With a bear or with a man. They probably haven't watched animal documentaries to see how big a bear is. Hexacosio hexaconta hexaphobia, the fear of the number 666. Similarly, we have the fear of the number 4 and 13 in Japan and the West. Fortniteophobia, the fear of Fortnite, anyone who plays the game too much and gets stomped on, leading to a breakdown, and those are just a few of the human phobias I found. Actually, there are still so many more. You guys can comment below. Some of them sound made up. I think they're pretty similar to those trending videos about sex and all genders. I'm no cap bro. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any videos. Goodbye and see you again.